Welcome to Resi-licious recipes. Today I'm making the queen of the patisserie, which is the Mille Feuille. I will make my Mille Feuille with homemade puff pastry and with a crème diplomat plus salted caramel layers, so it's really dangerous. I made this dough without filming it, and I still need to do 2 tours of rolling it, flouring it, chilling it. As this is a separate video in itself, I will just finish the touring of this dough and start the actual baking of the Mille Feuille, because it's a video in itself, and I will make another one on puff pastry, but bear with me for this one. You can of course also do shop-bought pastry. It's really time consuming, not so much complex, but time consuming. You almost need to make this a day in advance and then cool it overnight and then do the rest of the processes the next day. It makes it a lot easier. So yeah, let's get going. So dust your surface, put a slightly dust on here and then roll. And you do this process really 5 times. You roll it out with the butter inside into all directions, fold it like a little parcel, cool it for 30 minutes, and again. It's very time consuming and really needs a full day. I will link the recipe for this dough in this description in case you want to try it. And yes, and a video is coming up shortly to do the full process. But today I don't have the nerve for it. So this is the 4th round being ready. I will now fold it into a parcel, and in between brush off your excess flour. You don't want this to get too floury. The same on the lower end. And then put it into cling film and cool it for 30 minutes and then repeat and another 30 minutes. And then once that process is done, we bake it. I found this incredible sheet for puff pastry, specifically Mille Feuille, where you insert the dough and cover it with a top lid that it doesn't puff up. I will also link this. I bought it on a French website called Meilleur Chef, and really great. I couldn't find this. I live in Germany, I couldn't find it here. So it seems to be something French, but it's great. If you do not have this, this is quite pricey. If you don't have it, then simply use ideally 2 perforated baking trays on top of each other to weigh down the pastry, and yeah, that it doesn't fluff up. But the problem with that is it's sometimes not very even, and this is fantastic. So I can't wait to try this actually. Right, let's chill this. So while the dough is chilling, we're making the crème Patisserie. We're using 500 gram cornstarch. You can also use rice starch, 150 grams of sugar, 200 grams of egg yolks. That turned out to 11 egg yolks in my case, depending on the size of the egg. 1 bourbon vanilla bean scraped out, 500 grams of fresh milk, and 100 grams of heavy cream. So for the crème patisserie, we're putting in the milk and then the heavy cream, and bring both to a boil. And meanwhile, I will mix the dry ingredients, the sugar and the cornstarch together, and blend in the egg yolks, and then it goes in here once it's boiling. We also add to the milk cream mixture our vanilla pods. I scraped them out, and I'm also infusing the milk with them. We take them out later on, but it really adds the nice aroma all over if you let it simmer. While the milk is coming to a boil, we pour in the egg yolks into the sugar and the cornstarch, and then we mix everything with a mini pimer. So once the milk is boiling, we take out the vanilla pods and we pour in the egg mixture. You do this until the consistency becomes quite thick. So at this point, the cream is really thick, so remove it off the heat. And before you cool it, make sure the taste is actually nice and that the starches have mixed. It's really nice. I'm cooling this now. No need to cover because there won't be a film because we have heavy cream in here. It's quite fatty, the mixture. And yeah, you can just put it in the fridge like this for an hour, let it cool off. So meanwhile, I do the final touring of our puff pastry. Again, a little bit of flour. It's nice and cold. You see, it's like a book. So again, a little bit of flour. We roll it out. Once again into the fridge for half an hour, and this is the final round. I think it's a little bit easier to get a ready rolled puff pastry in the shop, but okay, the taste makes a major difference here. This is obviously a lot nicer, and I think the Mille Feuille deserves the best start really. But yeah, really most of the day is gone just doing this. So chill it. Meanwhile, add 2.6 of these pouches to 100 grams of water, mix, let it bloom, and then we add it to our Patisserie cream. So heat up your gelatin until it's dissolved. Then you add in a little bit of your custard cream, mix it. A little bit more. And then pour everything into your custard cream. It will make it stiff, so when you cut the Mille Feuille, the cream doesn't go all over the place, and it keeps it elegant to cut it and to eat it. So for the chantilly cream, we mix 300 gram of mascarpone and 300 gram of heavy cream together with 20 gram of vanilla extract. Beat it really briefly because it gets buttery very fast and you don't want to overmix it. So really until it gets a bit solid, until you have this creamy consistency. We then fold this into our pastry cream. So we now pour the custard mixture with the gelatin into the stiff mascarpone cream mixture. And then we combine it and let it set. And then meanwhile we can roll out the dough one more time, chill it and actually bake it. And you see I'm working on this already really half a day, without counting all the work prior to the dough. So it's really a time-consuming recipe, but I'm sure the end result will be oh so worth it. And then you really mix it to combine it well. And put it outside. Put it cool so the gelatin can do its job, that it's ready to pipe once the puff pastry sheets are ready. So with a lot of rolling and muscle power, I finally managed to get this down to approximately 2 millimeters. I have to say it's quite a headache to make this. It takes a lot of work, and before it can go into the oven, I dust it off one more time. And you can tell this is not a pastry brush, this is a paintbrush. But yeah, I found it in a DIY shop and I thought it's actually fantastic for my purposes, so why not? So cover it and then chill it for another hour. And before we bake it, we will pierce little holes inside with a fork, or if you have one of those little rollers with pins. And then we bake it so it gets very evenly. And I'm very, very excited by this tray. Yeah, so I can't wait to physically bake it. I feel like half the day has been taken over by making this, and yeah, great. So in the meantime, we tidy up and make the caramel for the piping. For the caramel, we use 20 grams of butter, 100 grams of sugar, 100 grams of heavy cream, vanilla bean. I like more than the recipe says. The recipe says 1/8 of a pot, but yeah, I love it. And sea salt flakes. I highly recommend Walden sea salt flakes. It's fantastic. So a little spoon of that. We bring the sugar and butter in a pot to boil to 190 degrees. You might want to get a thermometer for that to be precise. And yeah, it's a bit difficult to do that just by eyesight. So let's start. So we bring the sugar together with the butter. We heat it up. Bring it to a boil. So it has to reach 108. And then add in your salt. So in preparation for baking our Mille Feuille pastry, preheat your oven to 175 degrees. And we will get the dough and now pierce it and then bake it for 40 minutes, depending on your oven, depending on your settings. But yes, you always should keep an eye on it, but around 40 minutes. So pierce evenly. At last, bake for 40 minutes. So it's a fresh day. Meanwhile, the Mille Feuille has cooled off. The sugar hasn't fully caramelized, so I will blowtorch it later on. But we will tidy up the edges, cut it into small pieces. You can of course make one large Mille Feuille or half this, or in the lengths. I quite like individual small ones. So yeah, I will make the corners tidy. And it's important that you cut this with a serrated knife and really like a saw. That baking tin has definitely kept the dough flat. So I'm quite happy that I bought it, although it was a bit on the pricey side. Now we measure it out to divide it up. I'm keen to caramelize the sheets a little bit more. It keeps the moisture out of the puff pastry to seal them. And obviously you can do this step also in the oven, or you do it manually with one of these guys. Now comes the bit that I enjoy the most, is assembly. This is our crème pâtisserie, really with the crème diplomat, and our caramel, hardened a little bit overnight. I will fill them into piping bags, and then we pipe the mixtures onto our Mille Feuille and make them look very pretty and very dangerous. So I've prepped 2 piping bags, one with a larger hole for our cream, and then for the salted caramel, a little one. You don't really need piping tips, you could also do without, but I'm using it, I prefer it that way. So fill your bags. And this has become really stiff, you can tell it's perfect consistency to then also cut and to eat. And don't overfill it. It's always best to have a little bit in there. Push it down. And then pick one of your sheets. I'm taking this one with a palette. In order to keep it in place, I'm putting just a little bit on there. And it doesn't slide all over the place. And then we pipe. And then followed by a small line of salted caramel. And this turned out so nice. Just a line in the middle. Here you could, instead of caramel, you could also do like a raspberry coulis, also very nice. But I thought the salted caramel is quite lovely with the vanilla. Again, so they don't slide. And I'm using the ones that broke a little. I use them for the bottom and keep the nice one for the top. And we repeat. I've put my Mille Feuille in the fridge to just chill a bit as it is assembled. In the meantime, I'm keen to put a grid on the top with powdered sugar. I found this in the DIY market and it's perfect for my grid. I like this kind of pattern. And then I will mix a little bit of the salted caramel with the cream, and then we pipe a rosette on top and decorate with raspberries. Sorry, we decorate with raspberries and a little bit of gold, because gold is always good. So I'm mixing my leftovers. And then we pipe this over the top, just so the raspberries don't slide off and they have something to stick to. So I'm making my pattern. It's perfect. Last, I'm piping a little bit of the mixed caramel vanilla mixture onto here, so we can fix the raspberry. The very final step is a little bit of gold leaf on there. This is 24 karat. And last, a little bit of gold dust. You see this one? And just a little bit. Speechless, and I feel sorry for you having to watch me eat this, but I'm very proud of the end result. It's beautiful. Obviously Mille Feuille is a cake that should be eaten immediately because the layers are so delicate. They attract moisture from the surrounding, from the cream, so it's really not a cake to keep that long. You could keep it for the next day, but to be honest, when something like this is hanging around, I don't think it survives that long. So let's try this. So I just finished the whole slice. It's absolutely fantastic. It's beautiful. It's dangerous, of course. You couldn't eat more than one, I have to say. It's quite rich. And this is by far the best recipe I've ever made. It's really like straight out of a patisserie, and it takes a bit of time, but very worth the effort. If you have guests or if you want to impress someone, this is the one for you. So thank you very much for watching. I will be making a pistachio Mille Feuille next, another one that is absolutely lovely, and I can't wait to make that actually. And thank you for being here. Like and subscribe, and see you in my next video. Bye.